Hi everyone. So this video interests me because I relate to it because I also really liked Tom Jones, and I discovered him as a little boy in the 1970s, and he just had that energy and that glow that Elvis had, and the way he performed, but also his songs. There was something about them that just stood out from the rest. So this particular clip shows how Elvis met Tom Jones. Priscilla gives her version of what happened. I just find this very, very interesting.
He heard me sing and saw me perform, felt that I had the right idea as well, that we were very similar.
So Tom says how Elvis first saw him performing and felt that they were very similar. This had an impact on Elvis, which made Elvis really want to meet Tom.
Well, the first time I met him, and when he was walking towards me, he was singing "With These Hands."
Can you imagine that? Being Tom Jones and Elvis Presley is walking towards you singing your song that was in the top 10 charts, and "With These Hands." And Elvis, the superstar, the king of rock and roll, is singing your song. And Tom Jones, being from the valleys in Wales, came from a very humble beginning, just like Elvis, was completely in awe of Elvis at first, and his hero was walking towards him. And even Elvis, could you imagine Elvis, how he felt when he's walking towards Tom Jones? Elvis was a fan of Tom Jones. Elvis really loved the way Tom Jones performed, but also the way he looked and the way his personality came across. So there was a mutual likeness here that had suddenly was coming together.
He just really liked his voice. He liked the range that he could take in his voice, and he was still shocked that he was not black. I mean, I think that was one of the biggest surprises Elvis had. He could not believe that he was white and had a voice that, could belt out the notes that he had.
So Elvis, being a fan of Tom Jones, who absolutely loved his voice and felt that his voice had something special about it, was very surprised that Tom Jones was white and so soulful. But as we all know, Tom Jones's voice was phenomenal, one of the best voices ever, and still to this day. And Tom Jones's hometown is only about 45 minutes from here, drive. I'm just across the water from Wales, and but you can drive there over the bridge. So Tino wanted to be in this one. Say hello, Tino.
Hello.
Hello. He's my son. He's 3.
Maybe he related a little bit to how it was when he first started out. The girls were going crazy. They were running up to the stage. It was kind of a kick for Elvis to see that happening, for somebody else. Tom would tease the audience and play around with them, as I'm sure he still does today.
So Elvis really related to Tom Jones because they had quite a similar act in the way that they performed on stage and the way that they would interact with the audience. And like Priscilla says, they would tease the audience and play with the audience. But it wasn't just the playful way that they would be on stage. They also had the amazing gift, the voice that came with their performance, and also the way they moved. Because Tom Jones in the late 60s and 70s, wow, wasn't he amazing to watch? And Elvis would go and watch Tom Jones in his performances, and vice versa. Tom Jones would come and watch Elvis, and they would go to each other's backstages. They did become very, very good friends. They went on to spend a lot of time together, and they met each other's families, and it just was a magical friendship. So when you listen to Tom Jones now talking about Elvis, he has very, very fond, happy memories of Elvis. I met Elvis when he was looking his best.
Tom really didn't take it seriously. Elvis never took that seriously. It was part of it. It was part of the show.
So Priscilla, in this early interview, probably done in the 80s, I'm not sure, says that Elvis and Tom, they just knew that when they would play around with the audience. It was expected of them, and it was part of doing the show to get everyone riled up and get everyone laughing and engaging with the audience. And they were both professionals. They took it very seriously, not just the singing, but the way they were, their personalities, their charisma, and how they just teased the audiences. It was expected, but it was needed, but it was loved.
Still go backstage, and there was a real person there. There's someone that can, down to earth, you can talk to.
I think what Priscilla's trying to say in this little clip is that when they met each other, Elvis loved the fact that Tom was just so down to earth. Being a Welsh lad from the valleys, from a humble, poor beginning, Elvis wasn't meeting a superstar backstage. He was meeting one of the lads. In England, we would say a mate. And they just hit it off, had this amazing bond, and were just a couple of pals having fun together that were both super talented, both had a super gift. And actually, similar personalities, because they were fun. They wanted to live life to the full. And life was exciting. And I know this at this point in Elvis's life, Elvis was on a high because it was coming out of his 68 comeback special. So Elvis was loving life at this point. He'd slimmed down, he was all tanned, and he was back at the top again. So they peaked together.
It was not an ego trip.